our country, upon the citizens, then it becomes a problem. Charity begins at home, but there is nothing was done. But that was then not taken very seriously. And it wasn't until the people in the government begin to look into that before they saw what is happening and the prophecy came. So God, in his divine mercy and kindness and love, warned about some of these things, but there was no willingness on the people and the government that have decided to wage war against God and therefore did not take it serious. And now it's creating a crisis. And I saw a video about the way the migrants are sitting, sleeping on the street in New York. And everybody's complaining, but we remember the warning about the migration that is going to be caused, that is going to start from different cities and different states into a different state, warning those people to be careful, not to let those migrating into their city and their state to come and water them and destroy their commonwealth, or else they will be like the city where those people are coming from, and they themselves will also suffer a serious harm. When government policy is about politics and they decide not to care about the needs of our people, we are talking about the infrastructure that are destroyed. Our bridges are falling down, our roads are crumbled and potholes and tearing down our vehicles, but they have the money to go and spend in another cost war in another country. I'm talking about war. That is immoral. That's what the Lord is warning about in the word that He just given to us. He calls us to have such responsibility and duty of care to ourselves and to our own people. You cannot be owing people in your own country and then you're giving money away to other countries. That's because we have failed to be a good citizens in the people and the choices that we make to govern our affairs and the commonwealth of our country. The Lord calls you because He had warned and reminded us of all these things before the time. The Lord warned about the economic crisis that is coming. They're talking about depression. When the Lord had warned, people were hedging money in Wall Street and people were relying on debt and credit. When the Lord has said to turn on to make an investment into chattels and properties and into tangible and substantial properties and things that are going to gold and things that are worthwhile, that is known to withstand a season like this. The Lord warned about the inflation that was coming and it was denied for a year and 6 months. People hardly can feed themselves. You go to the market today, tomorrow you go back, the prices is gone up. There are people that have large families and can barely feed their family because we have a government that have failed to pay attention to the needs of our citizens. They rather go pay attention of somewhere else and some other nations. They caused the First World War and we have to bail them out. And they caused the Second World War, we had to bail them out. They're trying to cause a Third World War, we are spending money on it. This is what we are talking about, the pain and the suffering around the world that is going to cause. The Lord was warning. A danger to America is a danger to the rest of the nations of the world. Not even China can withstand it by themselves. And China will not because they are not foolish like us. You cannot bring pain and suffering upon your people and then expect that everything is going to be all right. Everything is not going to be all right because the Lord God Himself who had warned was for you to take some preventive measures, countermeasures. It is out of His own love. He owes us no explanation. There was warning about reauthorizing FISA Act years and years ago, but it was reauthorized and reauthorized because they believe they want the power and that is being abused in what we see in invasion of privacy of the American people. The abuse of the surveillance state, turning America into Europe and China and turn around and blame about the kind of things and human rights abuses. All these things that is happening, going back and forth and arguing and fussing, makes me also to remember and think about those that are in a place where their voice does not count, no matter what they say, because they are so corrupt. Somebody comes out and says, and I wonder what is the judicial philosophy for somebody to be able to make a promise to the people as their own constituents using the powers of the government and its agency. When constituents relied on the promise of a government or any of their agencies in order to make decisions that affect their life, significantly impact their life, and then the government or the agency decides to disown their own promise and will keep their promise. Where is the good faith effort and where is the good faith leadership? Where is the good faith responsibility and duty of care, the fiduciary duty they owe as a representative of the people? If everything is about their powers and your powers, then you are putting at risk everything else. People make an investment into their businesses and they go back and destroy it, making policies that decide to destroy businesses and people's visions and investments and dreams. It sounds like a third world country. It sounds like Nigeria, where I was born. You cannot be making a policy that destroys the employers of the 75% of the people of this country and expect that the economy is going to just bounce back up because you decide to manipulate this or that and because you continue to lie and deceive the American people. Because election is coming very soon, and then you will find out whether they feel depends. Whether they feel depends of their money not being able to reach for them. If only you have, and all these leaders have the fear of God. There was a warning in the prophecy asking people like, is it McCoskey or some Republican old lady that is not because of the age, but I talk about democracy. You are no longer in the mind. You have given somebody the power of attorney to make decisions for you. How could you make a decision for the country? Years ago, you were told to retire. So, which means that that's not democracy because you are no longer representing the people. How can you represent your constituents and represent this country when someone have the power of attorney to make decisions for you? And you call that democracy? And I urge, no matter what McConnell have already done and achieved in this country, it is better for him to retire in his honor and glory. It is shameful. It is no more democracy when somebody decides, for the sake of the bureaucrats that work with them, decides to